going to talk about retirement with Claer, our pension detective. An issue, really important for women. I've got absolutely no plans to retire until I'm 105.
Excellent.
But I know a lot of people aren't, and a lot of people thinking about it now, and it's getting all your ducks in a row, isn't it?
It is, and also it's so important for women, and every woman over the age of about 50 who I mention the word pensions to, the look on their face is sort of between fear, trepidation, lack of knowledge, don't know what's going to happen, can they afford to retire? And that's because the odds are stacked against us.
Right.
We don't earn as much as men during our lifetime, so we retire with smaller pension pots, we take career breaks, we live for longer, so we need more money to last us out. Often pensions are left out of divorce settlements because we don't understand that we need to make that part of the deal. And then look at the WASPI campaign, Women Against the State Pension Age Increases. You've got to wait until 67 now to get your state pension. So even more important that you get other pension savings going that you could potentially activate before then. But I want to make people watching feel better about pensions, not to bury their heads in the sand, to educate themselves. And if you do that, you can only improve your prospects in retirement.
Of course you can. OK, let's start with the basics then. The types of pension. You've got to make sure you get the right one for you. You
have. So everyone's heard of the state pension. So the way that you build this up is you get national insurance credits. Now, if you've got a job, you'll get a national insurance credit for every year that you work. Also, if you claim certain benefits, like child benefit, we're going to come back to that later. But if you've got more than 10 years, you'll get some state pension. If you've built up 35 years worth of contributions now under the new system, you'll get the full state pension. Now, that's worth around about £12,000 a year. So for most people, that's the most important bedrock of their retirement plans. So check if you've got any gaps in yours. Go to the gov.uk website. There's a tool called the State Pension Forecast tool. You can see if you've got any gaps, how old you're going to be when it starts to be paid, the date that you'll start getting it. And at the moment, you can go back and fill gaps. That's something that you might want to do. Then the other type of pension that a lot of people will have is a company pension. So for the last 10 years, the law's changed. Most people in work, so long as they're earning above a minimum level, your employer has to provide you with a pension. So that's brought about 10 million people into pension saving who weren't saving before. But
does it matter how long you've worked for a company, or does it... I mean, obviously,
it's from day one.
Right.
You're automatically opted in unless you say, I don't want this. You can't get at the money inside that until 57, 10 years before you get your state pension. And then finally, private pensions. If you want to save some extra, you can also set up a private pension and put more of your savings into that. So they're the three main types.
Oh, it's interesting. Some people might say, I don't want to do that. I want to just spend the money that I've got now and not really look ahead.
Well, absolutely. And this is often the case with company pensions. Now, I liken these, I use the analogy of a supermarket meal deal. So yes, you have to give up a little bit of your pay. We'll call that the sandwich. So you put that into your pension. But if you do that, you get extra money on top of your salary paid into your pension by your employer. So it's like they're buying you the drink, the free drink that goes in. And then the government, to incentivise us to save money for retirement, they give us an advantageous tax deal on our pension savings, which we'll call the packet of crisps. So if you don't buy the sandwich, if you don't put that little bit of money in every month, then you lose the other two benefits. So that's why I like this analogy. So if you opt out of pension savings, yes, you'll get a slightly higher salary, but there's lots of valuable stuff you could be leaving on the table.
Interesting. There is an issue, though, isn't there, with the so-called lost pensions?
Oh, yes. Well, for this, I'm going to put on my deer stalker.
Oh, it's getting serious now. Very serious.
It is. I want to make people feel better about pensions, so I'm prepared to put on a silly hat to do it. £31 billion worth of savers' money is sitting in pension funds that have been lost, where the pension company has lost touch with the owner. Now, that's 3 million people, they reckon, who are affected by this. And most of them, in the last 10 years, because we've had auto-enrolment, you automatically get enrolled into a scheme through your work. If you move jobs and then move house, you lose touch with all the paperwork. So your pension's still there. Crucially, it's still invested. And growing, we would hope, for our future retirement. But you need to keep hold of these things. So how can you easily track them down? Well, there's one website which is free to use, first port of call, Gretel.com, like Hansel and Gretel. Now, the big pension providers some, but not all, of them use this. And so you can put your contact details into there and see if you get a hit. That's the quickest way of doing something. In a more targeted way, you could go through your CV or your LinkedIn page, look at all of the places that you've worked throughout your life, especially over the last 10 years or so when this auto-enrolment policy has come in. You can then contact either the companies that you worked for, speak to old colleagues, they might know the name of the pension provider, or you might have an old letter. Sure. You can also contact the pension provider directly. The Pension Tracing Service, this is a free government website where you can find out contact details. If you don't know what to write and what to say, the government's Money Helper website has got template letters. So you can say, hello, this is who I am, this is my national insurance number, this is some details, the dates I worked here. Can you please see if I've got any money? And I've put links to all of these things, Lorraine, on my Instagram, and I think they're going to share them on the Lorraine
Absolutely,
Instagram later.
Of course we will. That'll make it a lot easier for everybody. Once you track that down and hopefully you find, what's your advice as far as it goes? Should you just put that all into, like, you know, if you've got lots of different piggy banks?
Should you consolidate?
Do you just put it all in the one?
You can.
Right.
You don't need to.
OK.
Your money stays invested. Some people like to see it all in the one place, and I can understand that makes it easier to plan. But next year, we're going to get this whizzy piece of tech called the pensions dashboard that the government's introducing. So we should all be able to log in the future, see all of our pensions in one place, and hopefully a state pension forecast as well.
That's great, so you can keep really good track of it. Now, good news for grandparents who look after their grandkids, which is a joy anyway, but it could actually be worth your while.
It is. Now, if you're under state pension age and you're providing care for grandchildren or, frankly, other relatives, it doesn't just apply to grandparents, you could potentially boost your state pension. If you're not working, but your relatives are, and they're claiming child benefits, they don't need to give you the child benefit money, that's theirs to keep. But with child benefit, you also get a national insurance credit. So if you're not working and you're not getting a national insurance credit yourself, your relatives can fill in some paperwork with you and apply to transfer their national insurance credit to you. So you get an extra year of state pension. The more years you have, the more money you get. Now, it's got a dreadful name, this scheme, the Adult Specified Child Credit scheme. Again, I've put a link to it on our Instagram, but if you get together, claim that, the good news is you can go back until 2011 and do a retrospective claim. So that could really, really make a difference to people's state pension if they can transfer those credits over and fill the gaps for free.
Really worthwhile looking at your Instagram, looking at ours, and maybe just spending a morning or an afternoon or a day, if you can, just go through all of this. It might be a little bit painful, but gosh, it'll be worth it.
Absolutely. The average lost pension is worth £9,000, so it could be a profitable afternoon.
Claire, thank you. I understand pensions now.
Hooray!
Thank you very much. It's great. Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel, and if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.